Hello there, dearest dudes and dudettes. Welcome to Bachocolio Streams. I'm Bachocolio, and today we will be painting some of my Norse team for Blood Bowl. These are the minis that we will be working on. This is the Norse runner, and one of the wolves. As you can see, mostly just a bit of detailing is left to be done. And I think we're going to start with some of the browns, the leathers, and a little bit of highlights for the hair. So let's get to it. So I'll be starting off with a mix of Deathclaw Brown and some Screaming Skull. I'm gonna mix them on the wet palette. And I'm just going to highlight the outward most edges of the hair. Oh, hey, Rimbo. Yeah, mostly just some detailings here and there. Currently working on the Browns. Just a bit, a few extreme highlights here and there for an effect. Nothing too, nothing too crazy. How are you doing today? Yeah, it's pretty hot here as well. Summer has finally come. I'm pretty happy about it. I pretty much enjoy the heat. Aside from these ones, four. I am painting them in twos, so it's a bit of a balance between painting individual minis and a type of bulk painting, batch painting. There are quite a few more from the team, but since I'm just painting it for the world tournament, I may not be painting all of them right now. As a matter of fact, I'm planning on switching to Necromunda minis pretty soon. Yeah, this time I decided to go with Norse and see how that'll work out. Oh, hmm, it's a difficult question because um, there are second primary and secondary teams depending on what teams the other part of the coaches that we will be together with will be playing. So I'm not pretty sure. I think one of them is going to play humans, but I'm not 100% on that. Well, they did confirm and then they rechecked and double checked, and I'm. Hey there, Pig in Space. How are you? Roro Rimbo was just asking about the teams that will be taking on the World Cup. Oh, why so? I'm just gonna fix the focus a little bit. Make it a little bit closer. Yep, there we go. Let me know if I'm fidgeting out of focus too much. Yeah, Brett's are undead. We need to confirm in August, so there is still time to make the choices. Well, I think Zug worked pretty fine for you. You were happy with him when we tried him out. What made you change your mind or doubt the decision? Oh no, he's well above 150. He's in the 200s. Yeah, I suppose. Having a painted team is important. I think he was in the lower 200s, so 220 or 30 or something like that. You know what? I'm actually gonna try with the autofocus. Let me know if it goes way too crazy with the autofocus. 260, wow, he's over the mid. But then again, the breads are cheap enough to allow it comfortably. Yeah. And just as you said it, the focus went away. Yeah, no, it's going crazy. Yep. And are you still planning to use your blitzers with blodge? Give everyone dodge and one wrestle. Well, what was the fourth one? I remember you had at least two with dodge, and I forgot the composition for the rest. Leader. Okay. To save on money for Zug. Yeah, I just couldn't remember what were the ideas exactly. Keeping this thing is in focus is quite harder than it looks. Um, it yes and no, in that I can achieve the effects of the contrast paints with just a bit of mixing colors. Yes, they would save me time, but I actually wouldn't want to buy into a whole other line of paints. But they do look pretty fine, especially for fleshy bits, for quickly getting the mid-tone and the shadows with one coat. Yes, they're weird to use, but I paint over a light primer anyway, so that part is I'm pretty fine with it. Their main use is would be, in my opinion, for batch painting, and I don't usually paint that many models at once. I think the Blood Bowl teams are the biggest amount, and I do tend to paint them a couple at a time, so not going to save me that much time. And in terms of effects, you can play around, you can do zenithal pre-shading, pre-highlighting, you can base coat the surfaces with metallics and then lay on a bit of a diluted contrast paint, and it gives a really good effect. But pretty much if you use the standard paint, so if you take, let's say, these two colors, so a normal blue and the blue shade, and you mix them together, you will pretty much get the contrast paint equivalent. Yeah, I'm not saying that it wouldn't work. It's just that they would shine when you need to paint a lot of them, like old style playing 40k, like over 20 or 50 models of the same type. But they do have their use. I think they can be very fun to play with because of the translucency, and at the same time the more heavily pigmented shade effect that they give out. But it would, for me, it would be too much new stuff to get around with. With the heat and under the lamps, even the dry palette, the wet palette dries out super quickly. Yeah, possibly so. Actually, if I were to go into commission painting, I would definitely get a set of the contrasts. because they would save me a lot of time. I would be able to knock out some models pretty quickly in a decent quality. Slop on the paint, even though that's how it was advertised. If you just make sure to clean it up a little bit, you can get things done very quickly, especially if they are more monochromatic. So a dominating blue, let's say if you take a Space Marine being the most banal of all examples, you can get through a battalion with a single coat and then just go in for the detailing. And if you're just a little bit careful, you can get them done with a very decent quality. Yeah, so for example, a dry brush. Yeah. Or for catching the highlights. Although I do prefer using a dry brush exactly for weathering effects. The only exception is, for instance, miniatures like this that have a lot of hair and many strands that it would just take way too much time to paint individually. So these were actually done with a dry brush. But aside from that, I would prefer to use it for weathering. Um, Mostly having someone to talk to while I am playing around with these things. It has been, as you know, a hobby of mine for a certain amount of time, and there are moments when I just feel like, either by coincidence or as a result of careful planning, I managed to do something that's a good effect in painting, or something funny in the games, and I would just prefer to have someone to share this with on an ongoing basis. Having some geek talks in between our meetings. That being said, if I am able to finance even a part of the hobby, that would also be pretty nice and pretty welcome. It's not the most driving factor considering how difficult it would be to actually get anything monetized with video games and miniature painting on Twitch, but I use this part of it mostly as a driver for the quality. Yeah, I suppose I never got to that club. When I started, I think it was already not being used that much. It's not impossible, it's just improbable. Oh, definitely time for sure. Yeah, I think the biggest one would be Norse, followed by Andy Davos. And I forget about Canor, but Andy Davos is what? 300 concomitant. Yeah, the Sage and Jimmy as well. Concomitant viewers or subs. Quite a few more followers, but in terms of subscriptions, not so much. Yeah, he's been in it. Kanor's been in it forever. I actually got to understand the game thanks to him. He had some tutorials on YouTube back when Chaos Edition for the first Blood Bowl were only around. Yeah, well, it's a niche hobby, even amongst tabletop and wargaming type hobbies. It's sort of niche. still, it's what we find fun. For miniatures painting, there are a lot of channels, but I haven't seen any that paint Blood Bowl teams. At least not many. When the edition, when the 2016 edition came out, pretty much all the channels for miniature painting covered one human mini and one human player, one orc player, one Skaven player, but that was it. Aside from Warhammer, of course, they show one of each of the teams. Can I not get this any better angle? I will apply for an official streamer for next season. It's just that the spreadsheet for this season was already locked, and I wanted to have a few streams to get my footing, both for painting and for playing. And for the next season, I will be streaming my games in an official capacity as a Rebel approved streamer for the Rebel games. And I will be posting on the Discord when I stream and so on. So yeah, that I'm actually hoping that this brings some people over to the channel, because most of the ones that stream the games, I haven't seen any of them paint, so this might be an interesting niche for me to fit into. At any rate, the idea is to make the equipment. The POV cam is on this lamp right here. So if you can see it, here is the shadow. This is the cam. It's also my mic for now. Yeah, that's the idea. I played around for several hours to get it as hidden as possible. Here it is. Well, thank you. I did play around quite a bit, and as you can see, I still have trouble maintaining focus and keeping these guys in a place where I'm comfortable with painting them. And this part of the lamp here is actually cut out linoleum. Well, it is until I start painting and then I start wobbling them around. I refixed it again. No, this is not about being a painter or not, it's about being a viewer. Do you feel comfortable seeing what it is that I do? Because if I do it from here or from here, as you can see, the focus starts to go away. And so if I'm doing any more detailing, it might be lost to the viewer. I really hoped that autofocus would work, but it just goes insane. No, I know. I just since this will be a part of the things that I will be doing, I just want to make it look good. I will just try to cover as many aspects of the hobby as I can, and to each his own. I will always note in the announcements whether I'm playing a game or if I'm painting, so whoever is interested in whatever part is always welcome to join me. Aside from that, I'm also wondering if getting some other games would be a good idea. Not just Blood Bowl, but as I will be streaming all the miniatures I'm painting, I'll also be streaming all the games I'm playing, so... Well, that's the thing, I haven't decided yet. For the time being, I will stick to Blood Bowl just to, because it's the turn-based aspect of it makes it easier for me to comment while my opponent is playing. But I might play some Doom, or I've been playing around with the Surge, if you've heard of it. It's a mix of Dark Souls and oh really? Surge is in electrical surge. Surge. It's a mix between Dark Souls and Dead Space. So a bit horror-y, a bit sci-fi. It's pretty fun. And in September the sequel is coming out, so I might stream that. In November the sequel to Doom 2016 is coming out, I might stream that as well. It's not hard horror, so it's not... If you've played Dead Space, it's not as pronounced as in Dead Space, but it has its moments. Yeah, I can understand that. It's pretty much a part of the charm. It is as intended. Well, as you can see, I can barely be called a pro in any... Yeah, but it was pure horror, so... the type of games I'm talking about, so both Dead Space and The Surge are quite a bit more action focused. Well, 11 hours is actually pretty low for a game these days, with all the sandboxes. This is a big issue for me as well, I just don't have that much time. So if it's something I can finish if I play it regularly for a couple of weeks, for 2-3 hours a day, that's okay. But when you stick on something like The Witcher, which is insanely big, It's a great game, but it's just enormous. Right. So now I will highlight the darker leather parts. So if you can see the leather straps here on the legs of the wolf, and these straps for the runner. I made them with normal brown and used a red shade to give it the reddish tint. And so I now have to emulate this as a highlight. So I'm going to add some base color Mephiston red into the brown highlight and get something similar. Do you know when the Age of Empires will be coming out? The remastered version? And if you like that, did you fall? Oh, so soon. Yeah, I thought so. Also, another coat of paint over the new coat of paint. Still, though, it's a great game, so any opportunity to get some more of it is always welcome. Yeah. Well, it's probably going to be like the Warcraft 2 BattleNet edition, when they allowed the control selections. Because if you remember, in the original, you could only select multiple units with the mouse by dragging, and it was a bit of a nightmare. Yeah, so basic quality of life improvements. did you ever get to play the Bulgarian game after Tsar? So the same dudes that made Tsar, the one with the Celtic story. I think that was pretty nice and similar to this. I can't remember the name of the game. Yeah, for its time. Yeah, exactly. Here I'm just giving some dots and scratches to give it more of a leathery feel. Trying to simulate a texture. It doesn't really show well on the cam though. Oh, really? They made some pretty good games overall. They made Tropico, they made Victor Vran, which was a fun spin on Diablo with a bit more interactivity in the action. They're a pretty strong team. KK, I'll be here. So by the way, besides Blood Bowl, do you watch any other video games on Twitch or on YouTube? What would be a what would be a recent example for one of those? Is it a real-time strategy, World in Conflict? I think it was a military RTS. Yeah. No, micromanagement for the yeah. Micromanagement on RTSs has always been something that's eluded me, and there have been a lot of good games that I just couldn't get to play because I was so bad at them. I just couldn't get any pleasure out of them. Dawn of War, yes, because it's a bit slower. The movement of the units is slower, the timing between commands is slower, so you actually get a feel to be more in control of the thing, more easily in control. So yeah, I enjoy the Dawn of Wars too. Also, if you like Diablo and Warhammer themed games, Inquisitor Martyr is pretty much up your alley. It looks like it could run also on less powerful machines. Not sure on that, but it looks that way. It's not in any way a technical marvel itself. And it might be fun to just unwind with a fun little click fest to hack and slash away. So I think we can say we got the browns down to where I want them, mostly. Oh wow, okay. By the way, did you manage to resolve the Blood Bowl 2 issue with the horrible frame rate? I saw quite a few streamers turning off the grass animation. No? Was it in the network or on the computer itself? Oh, wow, that's really a hell of a workaround. Yeah. Yeah. It actually has very little in terms of options for for graphics. So there's very little you can physically tweak to make it more playable. If your computer is struggling with them. In what way? It had more features, yeah, I'll give you, yeah, in terms of features, it had quite a bit more. I think it had cheerleaders for each team, it had stadiums, Yeah. Mostly what Blood Bowl 2 brought to the game was polished graphics and an easier user interface. That was it. And it cut out quite a bit of the features, and they're now getting them back with the expansions. But now that that Focus Interactive was bought by that other company, I don't think that we'll see an expansion. I don't think we'll ever see the Chaos Edition of Blood Bowl 2. Also, it had some fun. Yeah, I feel so too. I remember on Blood Bowl 1 when when you fouled, everyone, all the players that were assisting in the foul also did a little animation when they stomped on the fallen player. That was really fun. It wasn't just the one making the foul action, it was all of the assisting ones. Yeah. So, in terms of painting, I'm going to put some shading on the metallics now and prepare them for highlighting. And it had corn, yeah. Did it have Pact? I don't remember if it had Chaos Pact. No, it didn't. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So for now, only Fumble has all the teams. Yeah, they are unofficial, but considering how long the game went on without any official support, I think that they are as good as official. The secret league teams, they are a bit broken in my opinion, but they also give a variety. Yeah, they are weird. Yeah, actually, ammo is it has Simeon in the Open League, and I've played him, and they did play pretty balanced. They didn't feel overpowered. They didn't feel too out of place. And there is an actual Kislev team within the secret ones, so with their own actual rules, not using the slum roster. I don't know why they decided to mix the two. Oh, how's the... Oh, it was GW. What is the new corn? What's the difference? Space frogs. Oh, okay. Actually, I never knew too much about either fantasy or Age of Sigmar, so I can't really comment on that. I only saw some battle reports with the trays where the entire formations moved together. How many editions did it have before going into Sigmar? 8? 8. Did it work like 40k? So did it have The codex is separate, or did this include the separate factions? Because if it was all-in-one reference point, that would have been great. With the campaign books. Well, that's how it should be, I think. Now, I understand that it's not as good in terms of sales because you get a one-time purchase, but it's significantly more convenient for the players. Yeah, exactly. I actually really enjoyed how War Machine and Hordes did it with the cards. Easy and quick reference on everything that the unit can do, and if you wanted the additional fluff or some additional synergies for campaigns and so on, you can buy separate books for the separate. No, they came. Now you do. If you want to upgrade from Mark II to Mark III. Oh, they do? They have them? How do they manage considering that the loadouts are so customizable? Because in Warhammer Hordes you just had the units and the detachments, you couldn't customize their their loadouts like you can in 40k. Ah, for the special abilities, yeah. Okay. Yeah, they did go a bit overboard with details. They overcomplicated it so much. Like, even professional battle reports I saw in, especially in 7th edition, almost not a single game ever recorded without some errors in the rules. Yeah, that would make sense. Like if you have any customization inside of the unit itself, the any given model itself, using cards is just not uh, is not feasible. Yeah, it also had cards, but it was instead of dice. That was pretty fun. Yeah, I only tried, I think, one game of Malifaux, and I did pretty much enjoy it. It was easy to get into, it didn't have a million rules, and again, the units had... Yeah, I got it after a moment. Took me a while to get it, to remember. And they were some pretty nice models, but they were just too detailed and too small. Like, I was not confident enough to start painting them. And I'm still not. I have some Malifaux models, but they're just so... Also, yes. Each model was its own thing. Oh, was there? I I miss those. I have the samurai girls. I don't remember how they're called. The long arm of the law. Yeah, that's nice. Did they stop making editions for Malifaux? Because I haven't heard anything about it in quite a while, and it was a pretty popular game. Not just in our community here. Yeah, it's oh, so it's on. Okay, that's good to know. Because I no longer see any battle reports or anything Malifaux related. Just sort of went quietly into the night. Oh yeah, but like I said, when I see, but it's just it was all over the internet, so Mini Wargaming was covering it, a lot of other channels were covering it, and then they just stopped. Which is a shame, really. It was a really good game. Yeah, I'm following them on Facebook whenever they post something related to the hobbies. Yeah, they cover a decent array. Although the focus usually falls on 40k stuff. Which I'm not against, I'm just a bit tired of it. Yeah, the more accessible war game for if you have an interest. Yeah. They are the closest thing to scale models without actually being scale models. They're a fun little medium in between. I still have a full two-player box set of Wild West Exodus, the one with the cyberpunk cowboys. or steampunk. They're a bit more cyberpunky than steampunky. And I was so hoping to get someone to play it with, but never got around to build the models, never got around to really learn the rules or anything, so it's just sitting in the huge pile of unpainted shame. But the models are fun, and I will occasionally paint a one-off. Just for diversity. Okay. It's quite a challenge, actually, with the fixed camera. On what subject? Okay, just write it in Bulgarian. Oh yeah, you did say that you were studying today. Wild stuff. Yeah. Are you in session right now? Oh my. Understandable. Well, good luck, sincerely. Fingers crossed. Why so? Uh-huh, okay. Well, if you have the opportunity to do that, Are they making them more lenient or? Oh, you are working along with the education. It's really hard to stay consistent at both. Oh, oh, so that's the kind of situation. I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it will give you a moment to take your breath and focus on particular subjects, probably. Yes. Well, I hope you do. But usually, once you take a bit of a break and put some distance between you and the wall that you're currently hitting with your head, it usually brings about the things that you actually appreciated for starting in the first place. So I hope that works for you. Well, again, this will give you the chance to remember, because it's a huge commitment and you couldn't have gotten this far just with the flow of the river. There should have been something inside you to keep pushing you. So the moment you remember what it was, they do pile up, yeah. They tend to do that. And again, when you don't have the time to entirely dedicate your time to it, when you have to split it with a job and other life stuff. Yes, well. Still, fingers crossed, and I wish all goes well. And the thematic song. We're trying to. I don't think this qualifies as professional, but thanks anyway. He's just having his exams now. He's in session and having a bit of crisis of faith, it would appear. It is. It's really not something you get too used to. So the last thing I'll be doing today is just to put some spot highlights on the metallics. Probably just the gray metallics today, and I might highlight the golds off stream and consider these guys done. For effects or as a narrative for the game? Because I'm not planning to give them too many effects. Um, yeah, possibly. The only problem being that the whole paint scheme is in a different, is in a colder tone, so if I place any blood effects, they will make a very stark contrast to the whole mini. And well, yeah, as you can see, he's running for the hug. They are some pretty sweet models though, aren't they? But yeah, otherwise for effects, I will play around with the Necromunda models. Norse in general, or the particular build? Oh, okay. Just for the wolves or in general? It is, yeah. Uh, I actually really like the pigs, the porks team. They really are. And they have made them so that you can tell the positionals apart without breaking the theme of the cuteness. So they're a really fun little thing. And GW Metallics, betray me once again. I wonder if we'll see any of the either the penguins or the porks on the World Cup. It'd be a cute treat if we do. Because they are perfectly viable teams. Would make for some fun banter. Yeah, there were some imaginative things, both for color schemes and for models for the teams. Yeah, to say the least. By the way, what do you think about the skill markers? I did not see the Donald Duck team. Oh no. Sounds awesome. I did not see that one. No, no worries. It's just I think we can envision them. It's just I'm pretty pissed I missed them. Yeah. By the way, I I don't really like the idea of the buildable skill markers that they're gonna use on the World Cup. Because the idea is to get a direct idea of what the skill is, and when they color code as a build-up, as a composite, it's gonna make it difficult. I mean, if you have to make a reference to a sheet of what color composition creates what skill, you might as well just look at the team roster and see the skill right away. The way they made it is going to make things harder. That's just my opinion. Uh, from what I read, they will give us all these markers to build up our skills. They will be providing them, and they will be available to purchase after the tournament. But I think for the tournament itself, they will give them to us. Still, I hope we will be able to use alternatives. Okay, guys, so I actually think I'll be done for today. I just wanted to see how some fine detailing would work on stream. Thanks again very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. And I think the next stream will be one of the coming days, and I will be building the Necromunda team. Again, a different kind of a stream. So with a lot of clipping and cleaning bold lines and gluing. The Goliath crew, the Goliath gang. Also, I'll be magnetizing them so you can see, you'll be able to see how I drill the holes and so on. No, the only elves I have are the dark elves from Grebo. I should pick up some high elves because I like them. No, no high, not high elves. The pro elves. Why do you ask? No, I don't have any others. Yeah, but if I'm gonna use GW, I will want to make some conversions. Yeah? Oh, don't worry. I have read them. They are very cool. He's probably one of the more insane characters in the universe. He's amazing. Yeah. I might actually dig them out and give them a read through now that you reminded me. Yeah. Alright then. So, again, thanks very much for joining me today. It was fun for me. Hope it was for you as well. See you soon, and have a lovely evening from me. Bye then. Thanks, you too. Bye.